What's up, everybody? It's Jordan Lee over at JDS Sigma YouTube channel. Just wanted to talk about some things that I do in between playing music and in between playing video games. I like to remind people that I did go to school. I have a bachelor's degree in finance. I studied microeconomics and I studied personal finance as well as financial analysis. So one thing I get questions about a lot is, Jordan, if you know so much about money, then why are you still broke? Why don't you do X, Y, and Z? Why aren't you rich yet? Well, so today I'm going to try to explain why some people are rich, why some people aren't rich. The title of the video might be a little misleading. I'm saying that there's only three ways that you can make money. Actually, there's only two ways to make money. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is how to acquire money. So there are only three ways to actually acquire money, and I'm going to break it down right now. The only way you can actually acquire money is to trade something of value for money. So and there are only three things that you can actually trade to get money. And those three things are time, and this is the one we're probably most familiar with. You can trade space for money, and then you can trade money for more money. So, how do you do those three things? Well, we're going to go in reverse order. So, the first thing is trading money for money. And when we talk about doing that, it's going to be investing. And so, if you have, let's say, I know this is going to be none of you in the audience, probably, maybe half a percent of you, probably less, $100,000 in your bank account right now. If you have that, chances are you're already invested in something. But for if some crazy reason you aren't, what you can do is you can take that $100,000, obviously, and you can buy pieces of companies, or you can start your own company, or you can invest in someone else's company. If you do that, then you are giving up your savings, but you're going to be paid in the potential profits of the company. So when we give up money to acquire more money, we're gaining profits. So money for money is profits. The next one, I said we're going in reverse order. The next one is space for money. So if you live somewhere, you already are experiencing someone who trades space for money. So if you own land, or if you own a building, or if you own anything that can be rented out, then the money that you pay, the money that you pay to live at that place, they receive that as rents. So space for money is going to be classified as rents. And the last one, time for money, and this is the one that most people tend to think of when they talk about acquiring money, is they're spending their time for money. So that's going to be called a wage. So money for money is profits, space for money is rents, time for money is a wage. Now, the only really way that you can become rich is if you obviously have enough of any of these things in order to not only sustain yourself, but also to sustain yourself indefinitely. So, obviously, with time, no one has infinite time. No one is guaranteed more time than they actually can spend. So, if you are trying to acquire money by spending time, you're really never going to become wealthy, financially independent. Now, obviously, that's not 100% the case. There are different ways that you can spend your time in order to maximize the amount of wages you can acquire. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But kind of as a general rule of thumb, 99% of the time, earning your money through time is not the way to go if you want to be financially independent. Gaining rents, so earning your money through space, selling space, um, it's the second most powerful way of becoming wealthy in the traditional sense, and that's because really there's no way to lose value in a place that you own. Now, obviously, you can lose value in what's on the land. Now, what we do to counteract that is we reinvest in the land. So, say you're renting out a space, you're renting out an apartment complex or something like that. Over time, the apartment is going to have normal wear and tear. Things are going to go bad. The carpet's gonna need to be replaced. It's gonna need to be painted again at some point. Things like that. You can use some of the rents, a portion of the rents that you've acquired over time, to pay for those service upkeeps. But you still get to keep at least a certain percentage of it for yourself. And if you have other people that you hire out to actually perform the maintenance, actually make sure that all these things are happening, the tenants are happy, then at the end of the day, you can maybe get 5 or 10% of all of the total rents and keep those for yourself to spend on, your own survival. So, really I mean, I'm not saying you have to become Donald Trump or anything, but having a couple rental spaces, somewhere more than five, less than 20, that's going to be enough to sustain a person once you get it going, once you have enough savings to take care of those emergency expenses or those maintenance expenses. Once you can once you can reliably make those payments, make those upgrades, then the rest of it you get to live on for the rest of your life. Those things aren't really going to go away. And the last way, the most effective way, but also the hardest way to start, is trading money for money, getting profits. So it's getting easier and easier to invest in companies today. There's so many different ways to do it. You can walk into a Scottrade like today and start a brokerage account for like $500 or something, and you can buy stocks, sell stocks, trade bonds, and whatnot. All those fancy financial things that people really like to talk about, but people really don't understand for the most part about. All I'm saying is it's not very expensive. The problem is there's a lot of risk involved. You're not guaranteed to make money based on any of those things. So when you're spending time for money, when you're getting wages, a lot of times you're going through an employer. That employer is going to guarantee a certain wage to you for your certain amount of time. They're going to say, oh, we're going to pay you $10 an hour. We're going to pay you $15 an hour. So now you have a 100% concrete way of knowing, if I spend an hour here, I'm going to get $10. Now, rents are a little bit more ambiguous. Now, people need places to live, but they might not need your specific place that you're offering. So that could be an issue. Obviously, you want to try to make your place as attractive as possible, but at the end of the day, you still own land. At the very least, you can sell the land. Hopefully, you can sell it for around what you bought it for. If you've made upgrades, hopefully you can sell it for more than what you bought it for. So you can always, at least with real estate is what that's typically called, at least with selling spaces, you can always get out at a fairly reasonable price than what you entered in on. But when it comes to the financial markets, obviously, if way back when you were invested in any of those .com businesses in the early 2000s, or if you were invested in X, Y, and Z companies that have failed over the years, obviously, if you try to get out after those companies have failed, you're not going to gain money for spending money. You're not going to get profits. You're actually going to lose money. You're going to experience losses. So the way you mitigate that is by putting even more money into the financial markets, diversifying. So it's really hard to actually start up gaining profits, and gaining profits is the most effective way of staying rich, becoming traditionally wealthy. So that's really it for this video. It's kind of, like I said, it's a really short explanation, 3 different ways of acquiring money, and basically the reason why most of us can't become traditionally wealthy in our lifetimes is because most of us are trapped trying to spend our time to make money, when we actually, the best ways to make money are to spend money to make money, or to spend space to make money. But most of us don't have those things when we're first born. So we don't have those things in abundance. We can't really trade them effectively. I live in a space, but I have to rent my space out to myself in order to live here. Yes, I have money, but I have to spend that money in order to make sure that I have enough food to survive. I have time, but I have to spend that time at a job so I can make sure I have enough money to do the other two things that I just mentioned. So I don't have anything in abundance that I can trade for additional profits. So I think we're gonna cut it off here and do a part two. Remember to like the video, comment with any of your thoughts on this, and subscribe if you want to see the second part, which should be available right now. Thanks.